This is Here Come the Irish. We have Anthony Fasano, former Notre Dame tight end and NFL star, joining the podcast today. Hey, Anthony, we got the NFL Combine going on this week. What memories is that bringing back for you?
Hey, Michael, first of all, thanks for having me. The Combine, it's not a fond memory, to tell you the truth, for me. I just went through it and all went well, but it's really a meat market in a factory, and you get poked and prodded and bended and twisted up by doctors trying to, uncover any injuries and, get evaluated to the fullest. So it's kind of part of the business, have to do it, but definitely not a fun couple of days.
Yeah, how much has it changed just since when you went through it? It seems like it's just getting bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah, I think I heard they were on prime time this year, and, if it has to do with the NFL, it has to do with money. So I'm assuming that that drives it all, but it's a good event. They've gotten fans involved, so I'm sure I'm still just as grueling, but a lot more people get to see the insides of what goes on there now.
Yeah, I'm here in Indianapolis. They've had it here forever. I wouldn't be surprised if they change locations like they do with the actual draft itself to a bunch of different cities, because it just seems like it's getting bigger every year.
Yeah, possibly, but Indy does a great job hosting things. I wasn't able to go to the Super Bowl in Indy, but I heard it was a great event there, and they do a great job with the Combine. It's pretty central for everybody, so it seems like it's working out.
Yeah, certainly. When we had the Super Bowl here, it was and we couldn't ask for better weather. We really got lucked out on that. But with the Final Four, and we got the national championship actually here in a couple of years for college football, so definitely a great host city. And kind of speaking about the Combine, we have Notre Dame tight end Cole Kmet is in that, obviously, as you know. But would you think Notre Dame should be in the conversation for tight end U with you, John Carlson, Kyle Rudolph, Tyler Eifert, and countless other names? You think the Irish should be included in that group?
I think we are that group. I think we're the top of it, at least in my mind. I'm not sure, Miami back in the day, but in recent memory, I think Notre Dame can hold its own at that position with any other school.
Yeah, certainly the tight ends and even offensive line more than not here. I think we had three guys on like the all-pro team for the NFL. We had Zach Martin, Ronnie Stanley, and Quentin Nelson. Those guys are all beasts. So definitely on the offensive front right there. See, Notre Dame is definitely stocked with talent.
Yeah, it's great to see. I think that's why we were able to get so much success at Notre Dame. It's because of the guys up front on offense and defense. In the college game, you really need them to protect the quarterback and establish a run game. And I love how teams are built, especially when they're built from the inside out.
Yeah, certainly following Notre Dame's recruiting here over the last decade under Kelly, offensive line has definitely been a strength. Kind of early on in the Kelly era. About 3 or 4 years ago, defensive line, not so much, but they're definitely catching that up where the offensive line is at. The defensive line recruiting is catching right up, and certainly, like you were saying, championships can be won or lost in the trenches. You got to start there, because if you don't have the big bodies up there, we're not going to be able to compete with the likes of Alabama and Clemson.
Oh, yeah, you're 100% right, and that translates to the NFL game. And I think that's why you see teams that are able to run the ball and protect the quarterback going far into the playoffs.
Yeah, and certainly we're talking about the NFL Combine here, but we got another event coming up here in the next few months. If you want to talk about your upcoming golf tour that you got going on here in May.
Yeah, a really exciting event got presented to me by a good friend, Brady Quinn, who I'm still close with to this day. We live in the same town, so get to catch up with him a bunch. And he was approached to go play some golf in Ireland with some other former Irish players and fans and people that want to sign up and come along. Sounds like a great trip, and looking forward to it second week of May. Going to play some good golf, have some good food and laughs, and meet some really great people. So really great opportunity, and a lot of the proceeds go to charities as well. Brady has a charity and I have a charity, and most of those proceeds will be benefiting that. So very grateful in that respect.
How long has your charity been around for?
We're going back since '08. We started it, so we're over 10 years now. Going great. Run a few events in New Jersey, where I'm originally from. And our broad mission is to support underprivileged children in that area. most recently military families and children struggling and families struggling with autism.
Well, that's a great foundation for you doing. Does that take up most of your time now that you're retired, or what kind of things you have going on outside of the sports?
Yeah, no, events, as prepping for them, really take up some of my time. But I stay busy during the day. I started a behavioral health business while I was still playing, and recently just completed a merger and moved our facility from Florida out to the Vail Valley in Colorado. So a lot of my time is spent, working and trying to destigmatize behavioral health, and also forge relationships between our behavioral health center, athletes, agents, teams, players associations, to be able to help athletes in need.
Yeah, and that's great of you. A lot of the interviews we've done here with former athletes who have graduated since Notre Dame, it seems like everyone we talk to is doing something great in the community outside Notre Dame. That's just a testament to the university and the kind of players that it produces. How did you guys choose the time there in May for that golf trip? Did you guys consider doing it during when Notre Dame heads out there in the fall, or how did you guys come across that date in May?
That was chosen by the people running the tour, JP, and his staff. So they set the date, and it works for me. Look forward to a very fun trip. I like to play a little bit of golf. Was able to go over to Scotland last year and got a little taste of golf in that part of the world, and look forward to going back.
Now, will you be heading back for the Notre Dame Navy game, or will you have time to make it out there this fall for that game?
I'm definitely trying to. Haven't committed to it yet, but I'd definitely like to. Hopefully, we get a great setup in Ireland and able to make it back out in fall.
Yeah, hopefully the same outcome that Notre Dame had against Navy this prior year. For some reason, I think Navy might have finished, like 11-2 or some really great record with only one other loss besides Notre Dame, and the Irish didn't really get credit for beating them because they're a service academy. But Navy was a great program last year. I believe they even won their bowl game against a quality team as well. But did you go back to the Notre Dame Navy game in 2012? Were you there at that point?
No, I wasn't. I was playing there. I was playing during the fall at that point.
Okay. Oh yeah. Obviously. But kind of flashing back here, we got some other questions. So this year it seems like there's kind of been a lot of build-up for the Notre Dame Clemson game. I was like 10 years old back when 2005 when you guys got the build-up for the Notre Dame USC game. Can you take us back to that Notre Dame USC game in 2005 and like the build-up for that? How crazy it was?
Yeah, it was. It was first really marquee matchup that everyone was looking forward to for weeks. I believe we were both 8-8 at the time. Coming in, later on in the fall, just a great setting. We made all the hoopla of having the pep rally in the stadium, growing the grass longer, and the fans shaking their butts, and just everything that built up to it was awesome. And the game was nothing short of that build up as well. Unfortunately, we're on the wrong side of it, but it's a memory I'll never forget.
Do you think the Notre Dame Clemson game this fall can have kind of a similar feel to that? I believe the last time that Notre Dame actually faced a number one team at home was back in that 2005 season. Like I said, I was only 10 years old back then, but I know Notre Dame fans have already been talking about this Clemson game before the last season even finished, and the hype for this game is just huge because it seems like over the Brian Kelly era, all of our big games have been on the road. Whether it was like Oklahoma or at Miami that one year or at Florida State when they were number one or number two that year. At Clemson several years back. It seems like all of our biggest games under Kelly have almost been on the road. So for this game to be at Notre Dame Stadium, I'm kind of already getting chills for that. You think that kind of has the same kind of feel that you guys had back in 2005 already?
Yeah, I don't see why it won't. I think the expectations, even from 2005, have grown. So that buildup could possibly be even larger. A lot of great players that have national recognition, and as long as everything goes as according to planned, prior to that game, I think the hype will be as big, if not bigger.
Think they should bring out the green jerseys?
It didn't fare well for us, but I don't care what color they wear as long as we win.
So when did you guys actually know that you're going to get to wear the green jerseys that weekend?
Not until we got back in the locker room after warm-up. I believe we warmed up in normal uniform and came back in to just get ready for to come out of the tunnel for the game, and a whole new uniform was in the locker, so we had to get changed real fast.
Yeah, what kind of? I know obviously you guys were facing the number one team. You probably didn't need any more energy, but how awesome was that? Like a once in a lifetime thing that's only happened like one or time prior that they've done that. I think back in '77 against USC. But what kind of more energy did that give you guys when you saw those green jerseys just sitting there waiting on you guys?
Yeah, it just, in our minds, of course, it's a huge game, but it just shows that, everybody else who makes those decisions, thought of the magnitude of the game as, just as much as we have. So definitely, it's a little added energy right before the game. Know you want it to be, a good winning memory when you wear those jerseys. And, as fun as it was, it's tough to think back and, know we didn't come through with the W.
Yeah, I completely understand that. We'll see if Kelly breaks out the green jerseys this year. Obviously, they have those Shamrock games. They wear the green jerseys quite often, but those aren't the traditional green ones. You would think I kind of like saving those for the number one teams. So you never know if he'll break them out this year. Notre Dame certainly is overdue for that one big key win that kind of gets the monkey off their back, as well as the championship here under the Kelly era. So we'll take a look at that when that comes around. But I do have some other questions here for you. Kind of start back in high school time. I know you're a multi-sport athlete. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
I even saw here when I was looking for some information for questions to ask you. Did you actually throw a perfect game as your freshman year in high school?
I threw a one-hitter.
Oh, one-hitter. Okay.
A one-hitter. Yeah, I believe it was a one-hitter my freshman year in high school baseball. Yeah.
Okay. How long did you play baseball? Did you play up until you were a senior as well?
I didn't know. I played my first 2 years, and then I knew football was my future, and thought I'd benefit from track and field a little bit more. So I switched over my junior year to track and field, and did some running events, but mostly had most success in throwing javelin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with your size, it's probably the best decision there too. But also know it kind of worked out for your buddy there, Jeff Samardzija, too. He decided to stick with baseball, and that's worked out great for him. Do you still keep in touch with him?
Not in a while. Every now and then, if he comes into the city I'm in, and try to catch up with him. But I'm following his career from afar. I'm super happy for him. He's had all of his success, and I'm glad he made the right decision to play baseball. Yeah. I'm sometimes jealous.
Yeah, man, he can throw the ball hard. I mean, if you're a decent pitcher in baseball or a quality pitcher at all, I know he's made the All-Star game, I believe, at least once. But, I mean, his contract, man, if you can, baseball players can get paid sometimes if you're really good at it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, lots of them gets paid a lot of money. So very happy for him. He seems very happy. I think he has a family now. So definitely follow his career, and love watching him.
And then kind of transition to college. Take me through. So I'm gonna pull up a big moment in your Notre Dame career, the hurdle you had at Washington. Take us through that. Did you know you could make it, or just kind of go for it?
I didn't have it planned at all. You know the story about the young boy who was struggling with cancer. Coach Weiss had met with him earlier in the week. He allowed him to call up the first play of the game, and he called the pass right. And we happened to something happened with the kickoff return where we only brought it out to 2 or 3 yard line. So we were backed up in our own end zone, and we were wondering if he was going to still call a pass right. Pretty unlikely that call that type of play in that position, and he held to his word. And we were able to do it. Brady got me the ball, and I just didn't want the guy to take out my legs, so just instinctively tried to jump over him, and it's probably the highest I've jumped in probably my life, and I definitely not since then.
Well, I actually I know about everything there is to know about Notre Dame, but I didn't know the background on that play. Believe it or not, that's makes that play even more special. I did not know that.
Yeah, I think they coined it pass right, and it was because a little boy, I believe his name was Montana, after Joe Montana, had passed away. I believe the night before that game. So
yeah, I had saw some.
Unfortunately, he wasn't able to see the play that he called, but Charlie held to his word.
Well, that's awesome. That's a great story. Like we said about all those stories about Notre Dame, and we always hear on the podcast. That's a great story. Then you're just able to leap over that defender, made it even more special. But yeah, I didn't know all the background on that. That's a great bit of information for us. Um,
Yeah, it's just a heartwarming story, and it's just tough to even think about, especially being a father at this point. So, just happy I was able to work out and be somewhat of a good memory for the family and the players involved.
Yeah, especially with your guys' position on the field, how that worked out, that was just a miracle, and that's a great story to hear. Kind of transitioning to a question I asked for right before we got on here, kind of transitioning. I was looking for questions to ask you here, kind of scrolling the internet, and I saw you at the Fantasy Factory on Big Cat's channel. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, a couple of friends of mine out in LA had a relationship with the Fantasy Factory people, Rob Dyrdek and them, and we're able to go in there off hours and kind of screw around with some bikes and skateboards, and it was just unbelievable experience. It was fun at the time. I was a fan of them and their show, and able to go experience it. Probably wasn't too smart. Probably could have got hurt at the time, but was lucky to walk away unscathed.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are having some fun there. So Robert and other guys were there. It was kind of after hours kind of thing.
Yeah, riding the bikes, jumping into the foam pit, taking a skateboard on a half pipe and things of that nature. A lot of goofing around. It was a fun time. I'm not sure how that made it on the internet, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised of anything that makes it on the internet nowadays.
Yeah, I had to double check with Asky there because I wasn't sure if that was you or not. I saw on the bike it wasn't the best camera angle or anything like that, but that's pretty cool because that was like right in the prime of Fantasy Factory and Rob Dyrdek and everything like that. So that's kind of cool you got to go there.
Yeah, it was a really good memory. It was a fun experience.
So kind of taking us to that time, like you said, you're in the NFL. What are some of your biggest memories from the NFL? Maybe it were a special game or special play you had or some player that you met. What is some of your favorite memories of playing in the NFL?
It's tough to say. I look back and probably say just the relationships I built with my teammates and even some coaches, that will last a lifetime. So really, the human aspect and relationship part of it is the fondest memories, a bunch of, great game memories and situational stuff that stand out. But I'd have to say that the people that I met and, worked with and trained with all year long and was able to go out in the field and compete with them is my fondest memories. And some of the stuff you really can't recreate, once you're done playing football. So a lot of that's great. Also, my first year in Miami, coming back, the team before I think was 1-15, and we came back and we're 11-5 and won the division. I had a great turnaround season, so multiple memories of that, are great.
So speaking of the relationships, what former Notre Dame players and NFL players are you kind of buddies with, or you still keep in touch with?
Yeah, like I said, Brady Quinn and we live in the same city. He's actually moving on my street here soon. So happy to, still be really close with Brady and his growing family. My roommate in college, Chris Quinn, basketball player, is a Miami Heat coach. So we're pretty local to each other and get to see each other and their families, a bunch. So those two guys, and I keep in touch with, it's easy to keep in touch with, the internet and social media and everything now. So a bunch of guys, super fortunate to be able to have the privilege to go to Notre Dame and then, meet all the great people, athletes and regular students, and be able to keep in contact with them. So, again, probably, looking back at Notre Dame as well, the relationships and the people I've met, the lifelong friends, probably the fondest memories I'll take away from there.
Yeah, certainly caught some passes from Brady Quinn in your day. What kind of relationship did you guys have at Notre Dame when you guys were on the field together?
It was great. I felt like I was his safety valve. I knew what he was thinking, where I had to be at the time. But I was a year older. I hosted him on his official visit. So, he was the pretty boy man under the spotlight. And I felt like I was just, trying to big brother him from from behind the scenes. So it's been great, and it's only gotten better and grown since we've aged.
So obviously, a professional athlete, you got the foundation. You've met a lot of guys, whether you're at Notre Dame in the NFL. Who are some people that you haven't met that you maybe would want to meet? Maybe like, have you met Lou Holtz before, or some celebrities that you'd like to meet in person?
Yes, I've met Coach Holtz. It was great meeting him, and hearing some stories from him. But I'm not really a guy that seeks autographs or seeks out anybody to meet. But if I have to if I happen to cross paths with them, I'd love to just pick their brain and see what makes them them. I probably don't have a list of people, but definitely enjoy people that have made it to the top and have some great reputations.
Looking forward to this Notre Dame team. Do you still keep in touch or follow the Irish? And how many games are you able to go to usually throughout the course of a year?
I have a young family. I had a baby in the fall, so was not able to get out this year. But I look to get out to at least one a year. I live in South Florida, so getting up there early in the fall is great. But I haven't been able to get up there. Playing during the season, I think I only got up there once during the bye weekend while I was playing, but I've been back since. So definitely want to make it an annual tradition. Once my kids grow up, bring them, and love to keep it going. It's something I cherish.
What are your thoughts? Obviously, Kelly came in there several years after. What are your thoughts on Kelly and this team potentially making it back to the playoffs this season or winning a championship in his tenure there?
I think it's highly likely. They're flirting around with it, and they've been there. They know what it takes to get there. We just have to, finish it out when you get there. So I have all the faith in the world in him. The team, his assistant coaches, the AD, and the university itself to be able to provide them all the resources possible to be able to, get it done.
What do you? I've been getting this question a lot on social media, and I've already kind of given my response, but I think you kind of answered it right there. What do you think Notre Dame's chances are against Clemson this season?
Oh, that's a tough question. I'm going to go bet with my heart with Notre Dame, but Clemson's had a great run, great coaching and players, so it's hard to count them out, of course, of anything. So just in looking forward to a good competitive game with a lot of hype and build-up.
Yeah, I've been saying earlier, I think that obviously the two biggest games this year are Wisconsin and Clemson. You obviously can't look up over anybody, the rest of the 10 games throughout your schedule. But last year, what hurt us were the Michigan game and the Georgia game. You got to win the two biggest games on your schedule. How cool do you think it is that the Irish are going to play Wisconsin at Lambeau Field?
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun weekend. So maybe I'll try to get up to that one. But it's going to be a great atmosphere, and that's the privilege of going to Notre Dame. You get those great experiences like that, and everyone wants to watch you in a marquee atmosphere. So it's going to be very cool, and look forward to watching that one as well.
Did you ever get to play at Lambeau while you were in the NFL?
I did a couple times. Yep. It's a great atmosphere, really cool town. It kind of shuts down on Sundays. So just kind of a throwback situation where everyone's so passionate, involved in the team. It's pretty great.
Yeah, and their fans are super nice up there. I've talked to Colts fans here in Indianapolis who went up there for a Colts-Packers game or whatever it may be. Their fans seem to be super nice, so shouldn't have any problems with that when we go up there. But I'm definitely looking forward to this season. A lot of great matchups. Obviously going all the way out to Ireland and playing Wisconsin at Lambeau Field and then going out to LA for USC. And then I think this year Notre Dame also plays, I don't know if they actually play a true on-site road game. If you count USC, it's like really close to their campus, but played Georgia Tech at Mercedes-Benz. They play, they play like Wake Forest where Carolina Panthers play. They play a lot of NFL stadiums this year, so schedule definitely favors the Irish. And like I was saying earlier, they get to play Clemson at home. So how cool do you think that is that the Irish get to play at all those NFL stadiums?
Yeah, I don't know if it's if it adds or takes away from the college atmosphere. I think a couple of those are great, but part of being in college is sitting on wooden benches and being on campus and here in the band. So some of that is great, but I also like the traditional college atmosphere every so often. But either way, it's a great setup, great matchup, and look forward to a fun year with them.
Speaking of that, do you wish they had the turf there when you were there, or wish they had the jumbotron and all that stuff, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think you have to kind of come up with the times. I think it was a smart move. It's tough to grow good grass in South Bend later in the year, and the fan experience is what the game is moving to with jumbotron and the whole skybox and all. So I liked it. I think they did it with class. They did it the Notre Dame way, doing it right and bringing it up to modern standards, but still keeping a traditional look. So Notre Dame always does everything right. When it eventually does it, they do it right. So I feel the same way with the stadium and the football experience.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think they did it the right way. They didn't go overboard or anything like that. But I'm out of questions here. Those are all the questions I wanted to ask you, Anthony. Once again, Anthony Fasano, former Notre Dame tight end and NFL star here. Make sure to check out his Ireland Charity Golf Tour, May 7th through May 14th. He's hosting that with his foundation, the Anthony Fasano Foundation, as well as Brady Quinn's Third and Goal Foundation. So make sure to take a look at that. That's coming up here pretty soon. But once again, Anthony, thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me. Look forward to playing golf with some of your listeners over in Ireland.